if you're stuck on how to read the Bible, I want you to understand that there's no right or wrong way, but there are a few better ways for you to do things. One of them is personally, this is just my personal favorite, is to start in the book of John. And for those of you who have already watched a couple of my videos, I've mentioned that. And that's only because John just really impacts you about the love of God and the love of Jesus Christ. And so that's why I really like starting in John, because if you start in the book of any book in the Old Testament, you might get into a legalistic thinking about how Christianity is. And it's not that God has changed, but God allowed for Jesus Christ to fulfill everything, the law. It doesn't mean that you don't keep the 10 Commandments, but it means that Jesus Christ fulfilled all the ceremonial laws that we would have had to try and fulfill. We don't have to take animals and sacrifice them before God anymore, because Jesus was the perfect lamb. He sacrificed himself for us so that we don't have to do that anymore. You only had to do that because of your atonement of sin, and Jesus Christ covered us through his blood. Through his resurrection, we have life. And so if you start in the Old Testament, that's not a problem, but you're going to notice a lot of sin happening, and it might deter you, or it might make you feel like hopeless, because that first section of the Bible, a lot of it makes me feel hopeless. As I'm reading through portions of the Old Testament, I'm like, oh my gosh, no wonder there's so much emphasis on our salvation, because it was hopeless. There's no way that we would have had salvation except through Jesus. We could talk about this all day, basically. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is, if you are trying to figure out whatever part of your life you're in right now, what to do, how to read the Bible, start in the book of John. And then I would say weave in some Old Testament, get a study Bible, because those tell you references. Like, you should probably look up Ezekiel, whatever, because this is in reference to this. And I don't know, it just makes it less overwhelming and more about understanding what Christ has overcome for us, to allow us to be in God's presence with him interceding for us without a priest having to physically be here for us. We have Jesus Christ standing for us at the side of God, and he's just the best thing that's ever happened to the world. So I hope that helps.